What's going on, everyone? My name's Dr. P. Happy 2019. Wow, seems like I haven't seen you guys since last year. In this video, guys, I want to go over a whole bunch of stuff, including what we just got today for the final day of the 14 Days of Fortnite, as well as diving a little more into the possibility of Kevin the Cube returning to the game in some way. Make sure to go ahead and drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm uploading daily Fortnite content. I've got you covered throughout the entirety of 2019. Make sure to use my support a creator code if you're ever buying any V-Bucks, and send me a screenshot proving you did so for a shout out in a future video. These guys on screen are absolute legends. Thank you so much. So the big gift for January 1st, 2019, on the final day of the 14 Days of Fortnite, is actually a pretty sick glider. It's called the Equalizer, and I personally do think it's an awesome glider. The challenge itself is also relatively easy. All you have to do is search 14 chests, which is 100% something you are going to be doing naturally while playing the game, regardless of how you play. It's just going to happen. You're going to search chests. So for that reason, I feel like it's pretty simple and shouldn't take you any longer than 3 to 5 games at most to search for them. This event, the 14 Days of Fortnite, that has been going on for the past 2 weeks, has been amazing to see, to be completely honest with you, and it's something I wish Fortnite would do a whole lot more of. You know, the game is free, and they obviously have such a popular and passionate fan base. They have all sorts of people playing, and I think it's awesome that they gave back a lot of gifts to the players during the holiday season. Some of them were amazing. I was holding out hope that the skin for today would be a skin, you know, one of the encrypted skins in the game's coding, but nonetheless, it was a glider. At least it was something really good, and it turns out, at least in my opinion, that the best gifts we got were on Christmas and New Year's Day, which, of course, is something I predicted. In the comment section down below, I want to know what were your overall thoughts on the event. I think it was great. You know, I'm never going to complain when they're handing out free stuff, essentially. And the back bling we got for Christmas, oh my gosh, don't even get me started. I love that Merry Munchkin pet, man. It's absolutely awesome. And I love when it hits the dab. That's probably my favorite part. So in case you missed it from yesterday's late video, I actually pointed out that the disco ball that was a part of the New Year's Day event that was going on all day yesterday in Fortnite, it actually has a lot of the same runes that the cube had when it was rolling around. When you could look at it, it just basically has all of the same markings on there, and a lot of people are saying that this is probably hinting at Kevin coming back in some way. Otherwise, why would these markings be on the disco ball? And I mean, where else have you seen these markings? Only in areas and places affiliated with the cube, so it makes a ton of sense in that regard. And of course, this is kind of old, but there is a bit of Kevin's rune site underneath Polar Peak, which is strange, very strange indeed. I've got a theory for you, but I actually want to go over a pretty big part of the Fortnite storyline and just kind of recap what's happened over the past couple seasons very briefly. I'm not going to dive into every single detail, but I'm going to hit the main points because I think it will help us to better understand what I'm getting ready to talk about in just a second. So let's start off by going back to late Season 3. The meteor was in the sky. Eventually, to start Season 4, the meteor slammed into the ground, creating the Dusty Divot. Now, of course, inside that meteor, we all know there was the Visitor. The Visitor broke out of the meteor and then went over to the villain's lair and actually built the rocket. He then launched the rocket and it created the rift in the sky. The rift in the sky stayed there for a couple weeks until it finally spat out Kevin the Cube in the desert biome. Kevin then proceeded to roll around the map, creating different rune sites, and eventually wound up in Loot Lake, dissolved in the lake, and created what people were calling the Thanos Lake, just because it was purple. After a while, the middle island in Loot Lake got ripped up, and this big floating island then went around the map back to the rune sites, harnessing their energy. Eventually, the island returned to the middle of Loot Lake, and then Kevin the Cube exploded, and then transported us all to the in-between, where the butterfly event took place. It wasn't so long after that that the iceberg ended up hitting the map, and of course now we know the castle in Polar Peak is getting revealed more and more each day as the ice around it continues to melt. And now, yesterday, we have that New Year's event that happened 24 times over the course of a 24-hour period, which was pretty nutty. Almost everyone got a chance to go and actually experience it if you were able to play. And of course, we all noticed the runes from Kevin the Cube on the disco ball. So Why did I just spend the last minute and a half telling you all about what's already happened in Fortnite? Well, I wanted to make sure you guys understood so I can lay this on you. The very fact that those runes are reappearing on that disco ball says to me that every single thing that's happened since Season 3, late in Season 3, has led up to this point. Every single thing that's happened is connected. In late Season 3, that meteorite hitting the map was like the first real piece of the storyline that happened in this game. Prior to that, there wasn't really any lore. I mean, I guess there was, but it wasn't nearly as big and nearly as interesting and in-depth as it is now. What I'm about to say, I've said in a lot of videos, not anytime super recently, but I have said it a lot in the past, and you guys might recognize that and, kind of say, yeah, that makes sense. And what that is it seems like the Visitor, okay? Everything goes back to him. He was the one that first kind of started the storyline by coming to the map, either intentionally or unintentionally, we don't know, inside of the meteor. It seems like he probably came here intentionally and probably had a plan. As soon as week 7 came along in Season 4, he broke right out of that meteor and went straight to the base, no hesitation, and started putting in coordinates on the rocket. It's not like he broke out and then a couple weeks later did something. No, it was instantaneous, so he knew what he was here to do. I think that's why we can pretty much say and pretty much lock in that his visit was intentional. This is kind of off topic, but I'd argue the very same thing with the iceberg. I don't think whoever is operating that or steering that came here unintentionally. It sure seemed like the second they got here in the trailer, they were ready to attack, so clearly they had some kind of bad blood towards someone on the island or something on the island. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, back to the Visitor. The only thing that is absolutely confirmed that he did was launch the rocket, because you could see him doing that in the week 7 or week 8 loading screen from Season 4. But wait, there was actually another Easter egg in that New Year's event that I think very much relates back to the Visitor even more. At the end, after the disco ball came down and after everyone did a little dance, there's actually another firework that goes straight up into the air. That's the one that would eventually, spell out 2019 in the air. But here's a look at the firework going up. It reminds me and a lot of people all over Reddit and Twitter of the rocket launch from Season 4. I mean, if you take a look at the comparison, it does look oddly familiar. There just seem to be so many different things pointing back at the Visitor being such a critical part of the storyline, because he basically did start it all, so it would make sense for a lot of it to tie back into him. And there seem to be countless hints pointing back at the Visitor, time and time again. So I wonder if not only Kevin the Cube is returning at some point, but maybe even the Visitor will return, because, I mean, as his name implied, all he really did was visit the island for one season. Doesn't he need to come back and finish what he started? After all, it sure looked like his original plan got thwarted somehow by some mysterious force. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, the rocket, after it was launched initially, actually sent a lot of red lasers down at Tilted Towers and targeted it, and it was clearly trying to destroy it or blow something up. But at the last second, right before the rocket struck the city, a mysterious force intervened and stopped it from hitting Tilted, and that's what kind of sent the rocket haywire, bouncing all over the map and ultimately leaving and creating the rift that would eventually spit out Kevin the Cube. So as you can see, it's definitely an extremely complicated storyline, and we do not have all the answers yet. I'm hoping at some point, I don't know if it's going to be soon or maybe even 2 years from now, I hope at some point Epic Games comes out and clearly states what everything was for, and clearly states, why this happened and why that happened, because I'm curious. I followed the game intensively and studied the storyline extremely hard for literally a year at this point. So myself, I'm personally really invested, and I'd like to get some answers. I don't know about you guys. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. That's my sincerest hope. If you did, if you could do me a favor and drop a like down below and subscribe to my channel, that would mean a lot. We're on the road to 400,000 subscribers, and if you aren't subscribed already, it would mean the world if you could go ahead and help me get a little closer to that goal. Thanks for sticking with me throughout 2018, and I promise to make 2019 even better. I'll catch you in the next video, and until that point, peace out.